right. Well, hello, fellow travelers. Thank you for joining me once again. This is my second interview. We've got last. If you've listened to them, you've listened to an interview with Chris. If not, welcome to the interview sessions. It's basically just a time where I get to talk with my friends and just kind of hear about what God has done, what He's doing, and any encouragement they have. And so today, I have with me my friend Tyler. So I'm just going to turn it over to him. He can introduce himself and he can tell you all about anything he wants to share, and then he's just going to jump right in.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul. I'm glad to be on this tonight. So I guess to start off, I'm Tyler Jones. I actually have known Paul for over 10 years. He was our youth pastor and our youth minister whenever I was in high school in a small town close to Austin, Texas. And him and his wife were just really sweet and just really good to us during that time. And I always looked up to Paul and just the way that he was and the way that he loved us and the way that he loved Cali. And it was just so fun just to see that just even as a teenager. And so definitely thankful for the impact that he's done. Well, as far as my testimony, um, I feel I'm being raised in a Christian household. My mom and dad have both been Christians my entire life. So that's been such a major impact for me, just being able to be around parents who love the Lord and who always try to push me in the direction that I need to be going, even though sometimes growing up, especially at the time that Paul and Callie lived in the same town as us, I was doing some dumb stuff as a high school teenager. And I didn't want to listen to mom and dad, but they've always been able to push me in the right direction just because of us being able to walk in faith my entire life. Um, and so, I feel like for everybody who's probably grown up as a Christian and who was raised in a Christian household, you probably go through a time where, um, you probably feel very doubtful. You don't really know where you stand as within your faith, just because you're going through things that you've never gone through before, and so it's just kind of like a weird scenario. And when you go to college, it's even more of like a whoa, like welcome to the real world, like not everybody is a Christian like you kind of felt in your little small town. And so I feel like really at the end of high school, more so at the beginning of college, I just kind of feel like I drifted in a sense. But as I got older and then got out of college and graduated and then got into teaching and coaching, I just feel like God showed me so much of why he has me here, because I didn't really ever feel like my purpose was shown to me. And I think he made it very clear um, to me before I actually started my first job out in Lubbock. I got in a really, really serious car accident in July of 2018. And I was in the hospital for 9 days and I was in the ICU for 6 days. I was actually T-boned by a Ford F-150 with a grill guard on it, and I was in a Toyota Camry. So if you know anything about physics, I took a major loss on that one. Um, and but it's been such a blessing to see. That yes, being in the hospital for 9 days and having major bruises, but having no broken bones, having nothing like actually broken in my body except for my spleen being ruptured, so I had to have that removed. But like other than that, the only other like damage on my organs was my stomach actually pierced through my diaphragm, so that had to be pulled out and stitched up back together. And so none of my organs are probably in the right spot, but they're still in my body, and so I'm just thankful for that. But going through something like that you just don't ever think about happening to you. Like you hear about it all the time, people getting in car accidents. That's very common, but to the degree of being on the verge of dying and seeing your car for the first time in person 3 weeks after it, and just seeing the picture of it and having that memory ingrained in your mind, like getting absolutely flattened and seeing yourself being able to walk still, um, and still being able to think straight and use your brain and just be able to do things that you probably shouldn't be able to do, just made me really stop questioning how powerful that God is and how he still needed to use me. And so I think within that time, like I just really learned a lot. Like if I was teaching or if I was coaching or if I was making music or whatever I'm gonna do in the future as my job, like I know that I have security in knowing that my purpose is going to be fulfilled and that I'm not really trying to find that anymore, because if God is going to call me somewhere, he's going to be very, very obvious, and he's going to be very clear on what he wants. And I mean, I've just been able to see that firsthand. So I felt like that helped me in my maturity spiritually as well, because I mean, just being able to trust the word of God, and I mean, to like really be able to see it in action and not just see it on a piece of paper is really, I feel like, what changed my life. But um going with that, just I feel like what God is doing now, I mean, like I get to share that with my students every year. I get to show them the picture of my car, and they always ask me the same question, like, Coach Jones, like, how are you, like you should not be alive. Like, how are you still alive? And I just tell him, like, God, like, I swear this is God. Like, there's no other explanation.
Mm.
Like, if you showed me this car, and I would probably 10 out of 10 times say that person did not live. And I mean, just the fact again, like that I can walk and I can talk still, and my cognitive thinking is um still like the way it is absolutely it just blows my mind, and how good he is. And even if I didn't make it out of the car crash, I still believe that God is good, and I still believe that if I would have had no legs anymore, my legs wouldn't have worked, and I would have been in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. God is still good.
Man.
And but I just think that, I mean, he for sure spared my life in that moment, but like just like allowed me to be where I'm at, um, in just in the realm of what I do. Because I mean, being around 13 and 14-year-olds all day, they're very easily influenced by anything around them,
Mm-hmm.
um, by songs, by videos, by their friends. And so like those are life lessons that like I get to teach them. Um, and I'm also starting to learn how painful it is being the adult and telling them this is going to happen to you. Don't do it. And they still do it. And I'm like, wow, like I don't know how else to tell you other than don't do it. But it's it's it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's fun but painful,
Yeah.
but still fun, just like to get to see. And because like I totally get it, like because I was that kid that had
Mm-hmm.
to find out for himself. Like mom could have told me until she was blue in the face. She could have passed out saying the same stuff over and over, and I just didn't believe it. Like I didn't believe it enough to not do it. So I was always thankful that my mom truly didn't kill me growing up, because she had every reason to do it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and so did my dad,
Yeah.
and so did my brother. Probably he probably had every reason to do it too. Um, but just really, I think now too. So going to college, I started off at Texas Tech for a semester. Then I transferred to Sam Houston so I could be closer to home. When I went there for a year and a half, so my first 2 years was Texas Tech and Sam Houston State. Um, and then I transferred to Mary Hardin Baylor, which is in Belton, which is like the sister school of Baylor. Used to be like the all female version of Baylor, like before they did co-ed, a long time ago. But that was such a special place for me, just because it was a small community. Um, I mean, like I knew that people who were going to a Christian school probably had some good morals in place. And I mean, like I understood that nobody was going to be perfect, but like just knowing that most of the people that I interacted with were going to be Christian people and that had the best interest in faith, um, that was really important to me. And at the time, my brother was playing football there. He was playing quarterback at Mary Hardin Baylor, and so getting to be there with him was really special to me. And so I met a lot of guys there, and I ended up meeting my best friends that I've had for the last almost 7 years now, which is crazy to think it's almost been 7 years, because that was in 2016. So like this
Mm.
fall will be 7 years that I met these guys for the first time and was really like around them. But these guys are solid Christian dudes, and we just have a really good bond, because we know first off and foremost who we serve and who we love, and um we embrace our differences and our mistakes with each other. And I just know at the end of the day that these guys are gonna love me and they love Christ, and they're gonna always put that on display, like not in a boastful way, but like they're always gonna be able to show people that like they are followers of Jesus, and that's what's the most important to me, and that's why they're
Mm.
my best friends, and so I'm just really thankful for them. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but if I
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. So now it's been so it's 2018, right? That you had
right
the accident. It's
right
now been like 5 years.
yeah.
But can you still think back to like who you were, or some of the thoughts you had, or some of like the things that really mattered prior to the accident? And then
Yeah.
like as you recovered, I mean, obviously not, maybe not instantly, but as you thought back, what are some attitudes or thoughts that kind of you really changed in your heart?
I think the little things that I worried about on a day-to-day basis that I feel like most 22-year-olds probably do care about a lot, like that are just very like worldly and like
Hmm.
materialistic.
Sure.
Um, like I very like I don't remember a lot about what happened in the hospital the time I was in ICU.
Mm.
Um, so and I don't even remember the truck hitting me. I remember leaving Lubbock Cooper High School that day, and I remember driving to my cousin's house, and that's where I was heading to go help him and his wife get some stuff set up because they just moved into it, and it had just been finished being built.
Mm.
And so like I was excited to go help them because like this is so cool, like they're in their first house, like this is so cool. um and I mean, but that's the last thing that I remember is leaving the school and kind of driving away from it. And then the next thing I remember is I was in the hospital room, and just kind of like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
um but for those 6 days, the thing that I remember is like I don't have any vital memory of any exact thing that happened,
Hmm.
but the feeling that I felt, because my parents drove 3 hours obviously to come see me. um my best friends from college all drove up to Lubbock, and if any of you know anything about where Lubbock is at, Lubbock is in the middle of literally nowhere in Texas, and it takes forever to drive from anywhere. So it means a lot if someone drives from anywhere in Texas to go see you in Lubbock, because they
Mm.
made a great effort. So like the fact that I had my friends, my family, my cousins from Lubbock, and um even further up in the Panhandle, came to see me. So just it was the feeling of fellowship and the feeling of the family and just I like truly, like the only way that I can describe it is just like the love of Jesus.
Mm.
I felt that during the ICU. Like I didn't again, like I have no memory of anything else, but I just remember just feeling the type of love that I guess I hadn't felt in so long, and just like the feeling of fellowship, and that's all I cared about was just the people around me.
Mm.
And that was so special, and like almost like this is the last time that I can just remember having like the feeling of innocence that you do as a child, like you like when you don't know how crazy the world really is,
Mm.
like just that, like that level of just like that you love living life and you're so innocent, and it's just like, oh my gosh, life is amazing. Like I finally got that back, and I hadn't had that in so long.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, this is this is what he's trying to teach me. Like
Yeah.
that, I mean, I can stray away from him, but he's still gonna speak to me, and he's still gonna show me things like that, dude. Like I'm always going to be here for you. I'm always gonna watch out for you. Like, and it was very clear.
Yeah.
And so very, very,
Mm.
very quickly, like my heart changed of like what I cared about. I
Mm.
didn't I did. I mean, like I've always been a very and which like I feel like it's not a bad thing, but like sometimes too much. But like care so much about what I look like, and care about like what my hair looks like, and care about just like my physical appearance. I literally, like when I was in the hospital, I couldn't tell you how my hair looks. I didn't care. Like that didn't matter to me. I mean, it was probably
Right.
terrible. It was probably all greased up anyway because I probably didn't shower in 6 days. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
Mm.
I didn't care how much money I had in my wallet. I had literally no care for money. I had no care for physical appearance. I had no care for Um, for girls, like I didn't care about it. Like
Mm,
that just wasn't like that didn't matter to me in that moment. Like I guess my spirit and my physical body knew like that I could have been on the verge of it being completely different with my life. It could have been the end of my life. And so I was literally only worried about fellowshipping with the people that I loved. And that's all
mm,
I cared about.
yeah.
And so that was one of the most clear and like concise pictures that God has ever just shown me is like none of this other stuff that you worry about every day, like it doesn't matter. Like,
Mm,
because you're not gonna take it with you when you die. Like you're not gonna have
yep.
like you're not gonna worry about if your hair's in a perfect swoop, you're not gonna care about if this girl is thinking about you or this girl's thinking about you, like it, or if you have $100 in your wallet or $1 million, like you're like you
Mm,
don't like you won't care about it because it doesn't matter. And it was very very clear. And so I was so thankful for the car accident happening because it
mm,
definitely opened my eyes up a lot.
yeah. Yeah, I think that I think I hear a lot about the in your heart, that idea of gratitude or thankfulness that comes when you realize that the other option was just not be here. Like that's and it opens, like you said, that childlikeness of going, wow, I have more time, and almost gives you that, I think, you, as you said earlier, that kind of that drive to say God has something. I'm here for a reason. I shouldn't be here, but God still has me here, so there must be some reason. And so even if it's not, to do some huge thing that makes it nationwide, but at least just every day,
Yep,
God has you here for a
for sure.
reason. So, well, I want to ask you, we can talk a little bit also about what God's still doing in your heart, but one of the things that really, one of my motivations for doing this podcast, and one of the things that God's been speaking to me about, is just using the gifts that we have, and being creative. And so my addition to the work of creativity and get to know about God is being able to podcast.
Right.
But you have some other gifts. So tell me a little bit about why you have what you do, how you feel like you honor God in that. What's your motivation? And then just give me a bit of your journey. Like, when I know that you were, I think, pretty quickly, even when you were in high school, you were doing some things, or coming up with some stuff and doing some
Mhm.
music. But tell me about that journey, and tell me where you are, where you're going, just what God's doing, and all of that.
Well, I think so. The whole music thing started like, and these are just things that I remember very vividly, actually, which is funny that like I still have this memory. But I I remember in fifth grade, my music teacher, she was very very passionate about music, and she was very good. Um, I remember at the beginning of fifth grade, she told us, she said, if your foot naturally taps to a rhythm and you don't have to think about it, that means that you have a very musically inclined brain, and there's something special about your brain when it comes to music.
Hmm.
And so like I remember just like thinking that, and then like one time later on that year in fifth grade, um we were listening, I think, to like a Crazy Frog song, like something crazy like that. So it was awesome. But I just remember my like looking down and my foot was tapping, and like I wasn't thinking about it. So I was like, hmm, maybe Miss Wade was really right about what she was saying. I was like, this is kind of crazy. So sixth grade, we moved to a different school, and I got into band, and I loved it. I feel like I picked it up really really easily. Played baritone, and then seventh grade, um, played baritone and trombone, and then this is really random, and but just a big part of it. My seventh grade Christmas, my parents got me and my brother Rock Band 2, and I never played Rock Band. I played Guitar Hero some, but like never Rock Band, like never like the
Mm-hmm.
full setup with
Mm-hmm.
guitar, bass, drums, and the
Yeah.
singer. So I'm going every day for hours. My mom probably just heard me just smacking the crap out of those drums. But I mean, and then I would watch the animated characters in the background of like the actual like little like concert going on, watching them really hit what part of the drums based on like which pad I had to hit. And so then I would go to our band hall, um and I would go practice on our little drum set, and I would just think about like the rhythm that I would keep, and then like
Mm.
what part of the drum set that those characters would hit. And so I just started like doing it myself and just picking it up. Um, and so then like one of my buddies who played the guitar when I was in seventh grade, like we would just go in this little back room together and we would just play like all morning before actual band started. It was our first class of the day. So like we would just get in there for 30 to 45 minutes early, and we would just play, just make up stuff, and we had so much fun. And that's when I was like, I actually love playing the drums. So I
Mm.
bought my first drum set for $400, which that would tell you that it was terrible, because if you pay $400 for a drum set, it's not good. Um, and it was absolutely terrible. But like I learned a lot. I was watching YouTube drum covers for
Mm.
hours on a daily basis. And I just loved watching people play the drums and learning from other people. And so fast forward in time, with the drums, I ended up playing the drums at our church that you were
Hmm.
the music leader at, and
Yeah.
you were the worship leader. And so I ended up playing the drums, and then my buddy Walker ended up playing some of the guitar sometimes. And so that was cool. I just like being able to do that at church. But as far as making my own music and actually singing and rapping and doing those things, I mean, I guess because I've always grown up in a locker room atmosphere, a lot of rock, a lot of rap. I mean, I've been
Hmm.
around so many types of music and so many different songs and so many different artists just as a kid, just being in a coach's office and being in a locker room. Um, I've just always been like inclined to just loving music and just like loving what it is. So when I was in eighth grade, my best friend at that time, me and him got the Rock Band microphone from my Xbox and went and plugged it in my parents' room to their iMac desktop. And we got on GarageBand and we
Mm.
just started making something up.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was probably absolutely horrid, but I just remember that we had so much fun making it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
Yeah.
like this is just so much fun. Just try to make up your own thing.
Yeah.
And so then going through to high school, I started making like Christian remixes of songs. So like, I mean, like really popular songs at the time in rap, I would go in and I would change. I would keep the same flow, keep the same tone, but change the lyrics as to where they would match up
Mm.
with the same rhyming scheme too. Like it would
Right.
all rhyme the exact same, but it was just with a different message. So that was fun. So then I started trying to make my own music, like my own songs and write my own songs. I wrote my very first song when I was 15, and I still remember it was called I Wonder. And I mean, but just just so like, and it was like, and it's such low quality too, because like I didn't have an actual microphone, so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm doing this on my parents' 2009 iMac desktop built-in microphone that's like in it's like
Hmm.
in the top of the desktop. It
Hmm.
sounds so bad. You have like so much of the sound, and so you're just getting like, you just can overhear every S I say. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
like overused,
Yeah.
because it was just so bad. But like I just loved doing it. And so
Yeah.
going into college, kind of met some people and we just started messing around. I've always been a big fan of like freestyling. And so, and like I love to freestyle. Even in high school, I would just love to do it like with my buddies. And so um and still now, anytime I'm in a car going on a trip, I turn on beats and I just freestyle the entire
There you
time.
go. Yeah.
But anyway, so in college, my senior year, I ended up making a song um as actually about a girl that I'd met in college, and we kind of had a little thing. And um so me and one of my best friends, we were in my closet in my apartment, and we were just writing the song at like 3:30 in the morning, and just
Mm.
we're writing lyrics together. And then I would put down like a little part of the track, and then we'd say, nah, do we like that? Maybe we can do it again. And so um but did it all late at night, which I feel like as an artist, I feel like late night creations are the best ones ever. Like if you're up at 3 a.m. making a song, that's an
Yeah.
absolute banger for sure. It's guaranteed to be a banger. Um,
That's
but
that's when you're like you're too tired to not like be critical enough to be like, oh wait, no, I don't know, that can't be good. And you're
yes,
like, no,
yes,
it's good, it's fine, just keep going.
absolutely, absolutely. And so and I had never posted like or not posted, but like I never had put my music out on actual like streaming
Yeah.
services or anything like that. And so um I like I finally figured out how to do it. And so Valentine's Day actually, which is ironic, that's tomorrow, um,
Mm-hmm.
is was the first time that I actually put a song out on Apple Music and on Spotify, um, and on Amazon Music and like a lot of different things because I was able to finally figure out how to do it. And so ever since then, um, I mean, I probably have hundreds of songs just sitting on my laptop right now that either aren't finished or just that are still in the works. I have a lot that are finished that I've never put out, but I just love using the creative side to express how I feel really about my faith, about life in general, just growing up, um, about relationships, but just I mean, like I try to make songs. I mean, I try to make them relatable to people and just how they feel about certain things. And I mean, because that's the best part about music is being able to listen to somebody talk about how you feel, and that's how you resonate. I mean, like that's why. I mean, obviously, that's why some people have such big followings is because when they sing about a heartbreak or they sing about their build up in their faith, like people are just word for word singing and screaming it because they feel exactly how that person feels who's made the song.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, and I do know that Lucifer is the angel of music, and he is very easy deceiving people with that, which
Mm.
is very, very obvious in today's world and has always been a thing. But um, I want to make sure that I combat that by speaking truth and speaking the real words of life into the music that I make,
Yeah.
and um, I just try to glorify God with it, and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
just
it's just wonderful that I mean God has built us obviously like the Psalms were music. I mean that's like God's hymnal, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
And he's just built us to be able to process some deeper things about faith, about our lives.
yeah,
And yeah, and I think that what I love about just that being able to be creative is that you're able to produce something that encourages something like music.
yeah,
You're able to put that out there, and who knows who's listening to it. I mean,
right,
as much as you can track stuff and where everything goes, you just never know who God might bring out to come across that, and then to hear those words, because man, it's just something so both amazing and edifying to find that song that says exactly, you're like, yeah, that's how I
yeah,
feel.
yes, exactly,
And to think that God's like, yeah, I'm gonna put this inspiration in Tyler, because I know that this other person somewhere down the road is gonna need to hear those words,
for
and
sure,
that you get to be a part of that.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know. It's like there's I mean, and honestly, there's been times where like I've literally been in tears making a song because I mean like I actually made a song about my car accident. Like the title of the song is the date that the car accident happened.
yeah.
So July 30th, 2018. And like I remember being in my closet in Lubbock in 2018. It was probably sometime in the fall, so probably October. Because there was a time for a few months where I didn't have any interest in making music. Like
Hmm.
it didn't matter to me. Like
Yeah.
in that moment, I just wasn't in the headspace or just I didn't have it in my heart to do it. But one night I started making a song about the car accident and just trying to tell that story, which is very hard to tell a whole story of that in 3 minutes and 30 seconds or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, I just remember literally like taking my headphones off and just bawling and
Mm.
just going like, why, how am I here? Like, this is insane. Like the fact that I'm still alive. And
Yeah.
so, um, and that's always like one of my students' favorite songs that I ever show them is about that. And because I tell them the backstory um, I always get like a lot of, I guess, just good feedback from that, just because of how real it is, and how um like in like part of the first verse, like I say that I know that I should have died, and like that's
Mm,
kind of like one of like the like big points that I like emphasize, and like I put a lot of like effects onto that parts, like to like make you like feel like, dang, like he like really was feeling that way.
yeah.
So it's just, I mean, because like I was saying earlier, when we went to the wrecker, or like whatever place you call it, just like wherever where they keep all the just like the junked cars, and my dad took me there, and we got to really see the car for the first time.
Mm, yeah.
I just I literally couldn't believe that that was my car. I was like, there is no way that I am alive.
Mm,
And so I I made the first cover of my first album. My first album was called, because I felt like God gave me a whole different perspective
yeah.
uh from that from the accident. The album was called New Perspectives, and the album cover is my car, and the picture that I took the day that I saw it in
Oh,
person for the first time. And so
yeah.
like just a new perspective that he gave me on life. Um Now I guess going with it, and like what's happening now and what's happened since then. Um I mean, life hasn't just been perfect in any sense since that moment. My faith, I feel like, sometimes has wavered in the last 5 years, just at certain points when certain things happen. But I I always find myself drawing near to God, and even in times where I feel like I'm not worthy enough, which none of us are, but I still know that I mean, I guess to look back at the accident, but also so many other things, to where he's kept me safe, and he's put me in places where he needed me to be, and
Yeah.
I've just been very thankful for it. So
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to use my creative side to be able to just to glorify him, and hopefully, I mean, if it's to even bring one person to get to know Jesus, that's the number one thing about making the music, is
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Any future plans? Like you got any like ideas about doing another album? Are you working on stuff right now? What's going
so
on?
so I actually, there's a song dropping tonight at 12 a.m.
Okay.
So I got another Valentine's Day song dropping. And
Okay.
the song is called Distant. It's not a personal story. It's not like my own story. It's I guess it's a combined stories situation of people that I know that I've just made into one song as one situation. And so the song Distant, and it's a relationship song is really what it is.
Okay.
It's about a guy who um feels distant from his girlfriend, or I mean even wife, if you want to put it in that
Sure.
situation, because of some of the things that he has done, and he feels bad about it, and he knows that he's not perfect, and that he's tried, but he's messed up so many times, and so he feels distant uh from this woman. And so I mean, I think it's a good song. I actually made the song in 2020, at the very end of December 2020 is when I first made the concept,
Okay.
and I got it finalized in 2021, and I never released it. And so I was like, what better day than to have my 5 year anniversary of being on like actual like streaming services than doing it on Valentine's Day. So
Nice.
this thing comes out tonight, 12 a.m. So if you want to listen
All
to
right.
it, you check it out, let me know.
All
So
right. Yeah. So you can find Tyler on Spotify and other places probably. I listen to him on Spotify, so I know you can find him on Spotify under Tyler Jones. Yeah, are you iTunes as well? Where
yes,
else?
sir. Yeah. Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music. I put stuff on SoundCloud, which is free for everybody. Um, and so it's always funny listening to like when the kids call me a SoundCloud rapper, and I'm like, y'all don't really know what that really means, because like being a SoundCloud rapper means you're just terrible. So if you think my music is terrible, then just tell me
Yeah.
straight up. You don't have
Yeah.
to tell me like that. But no, it's always fun with them, because they always have fun with it. But
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah,
how it
any
used to be, right? I mean, like SoundCloud, the rap is like, oh, you on SoundCloud? Okay, like
yeah,
that's how it used to be.
yeah,
Not now, man. SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all those places where really good artists are like, yeah, I'm just getting my music out there.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely,
so
absolutely. Yes,
but
sir.
back in the
Yeah,
day,
back in
that
the day, yeah, and I feel like I'm starting to get to that point too. I'm 27. I'm on the downhill slide to my 30s, and so
it's
it's
it's downhill. It's downhill from there, man. Hit 30. You got it, man. You're right. Yeah.
but no, I'm excited though. I'm just thankful just in the workplace that I'm in. We have so many good kids, and um I actually help at like the youth program that they go to and the local church that they go to. And so
Yeah.
I just so I can be around them and just so they can really see that one of their coaches and their teachers like cares about them outside of school. And I always try to make that a point in my classroom of just them knowing that like I care about you as a person. Like I could care less if you remember a moon phase 10 years from now. Like if you don't remember what the waxing gibbous moon is, I'm not gonna hate you for that. Like
Right. Right.
that's
Right.
that is okay. But if you're growing in your maturity and if you're growing as a person and who you're trying to become one day, um, that's what I'm looking for. Like that's the relationship that I want is for you to know that I love you and that I'm here for you and that I care about you so much more than just your school grades and just your academic journey.
Yeah.
And so I just want them to know that. And so that's why I go help out at youth and just because I also like to see them in that atmosphere and I want them to see me in that atmosphere. Like it's like I'm not always serious teacher mode or serious coach mode all the time. Like I'm a very relaxed person, I feel like in general. So I'm just thankful that I get to go do that and just get to be a part of that. And our kids are awesome. So just thankful to
Nice.
be in the place that I'm at and kids love each other and they have a good time together and it's that small town lifestyle, man. Like everybody knows each other and
Yeah.
what it is. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love it.
for sure. Yeah, it's good. And man, that's such a blessing to for them to have somebody other than just their parents. I mean, because you know that. I mean, you talk about your parents were great. You talk about that, but even as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, but they're lame. They're my parents, you know. And then, but to
Right.
have another adult who's still a little bit lame, but maybe a little bit less so.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to, you know
Yeah.
that's not just there because well, you know, you're my kid, so I got to be here, but
Right.
actually there in their lives because you love them. Man, that's a huge impact.
For sure.
A great way to and to change people's lives, man. Change kids' lives.
Absolutely.
Excited to hear you say all of those things.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you've got a song dropping tonight.
Yes, sir.
Valentine's Day is tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
You can check it out on all the streaming things. Can you buy your music place if people want to like
Yeah, you
support
can
you?
buy it. You can buy it on iTunes.
All right.
Like, but you know, if you're smart, you won't buy it. So you go listen with your streaming service that you pay for, or you'll go jip me off and go get it on YouTube and download it legally, which makes me no money, but it's
Yeah.
okay. We're not
Yeah.
here for that. But I'm
I
just
looked up Spotify how much it paid per stream.
yeah, very, very,
And
very, very small amounts.
yeah. Um yeah, really, really small. And but then I also looked up like the people who stream the most, and it's like, yeah, but those people are still making some money off of that. But man,
Yeah, for sure.
it's like, you know, if you have somebody, if you got a song that gets streamed a million times, then you're doing all right.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, and like you've got to get into those high numbers for that stuff to
Yeah.
like really happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which is
um,
not what you're about. And so,
yeah, yeah. Now,
but if
if it
you,
happens, I'm not gonna be mad about it. No, I'm not. Um, but at the
you won't
same time, like
complain. Yeah.
I just want. I mean, I feel like if I'm gonna live for a short time on this earth, and I say short time as in like the grand scheme of all time, like if
Yeah.
I'm here for 70 years, which is a very short time, um, I mean, I'm gonna do what I can, and obviously everybody's gonna have an opinion. But I don't know if you watch any of the like the pregame interviews for the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurts, the quarterback of the Eagles, he said this and it was like one of those like dang like he actually said that, like that's actually a great quote. But he said that he had a purpose before everybody had an opinion. And I was
Mm.
like, oh my gosh. I was like, that is absolutely insane. That is such a good
Mm.
quote.
Yeah.
So I mean, just leading into that, like I know that God had a purpose for me before everybody had an opinion about the way that I teach, the way that I coach, the way that I make music. Like everybody's gonna have an opinion. And so if you let people's opinions hold you back from the gifts that you have and that you believe that God gave you, like what are you really doing? So
Yeah.
um people are
Yeah.
gonna like it, some people are gonna hate it. That's how it is for everything. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta know that God's got a purpose for it.
Awesome. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me, man. I'm just
Yes, sir.
so good to catch up with you. It's
Yes,
been a
sir,
long
man.
time
Yeah.
since we've
Yeah.
talked.
You too, man.
So just excited to see what God's doing. As we said, you can check him out on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube Music. Tyler Jones. He's got a lot of good music out there. I was just listening to the CD the other day. The
Thank you.
album, I call it a CD. That's how old I am.
Yeah,
So
yes, sir.
like
The CDs.
the
We love
CD.
that. We love that. I
I
know what you mean.
also
I'm not too young to where I don't know what that is. My kids would probably be like, "A what?"
I also say book on tape, like instead of like an audio book, and I'm like, no, that's not what it is anymore.
That's not it
So
anymore. I
yeah,
love that
yeah,
though. That's awesome.
get the
I love it.
DVD, go watch
Yeah.
it on
Yes, sir.
DVD.
Yes, sir. Go watch it on VHS for real though. Watch it on
So
tape.
he's got go check out his album. Listen to his music, send him some likes, and if you're so inclined, you can pick it up and support him that way as well.
Yes, sir.
He's got so he's got a new song coming out tonight. Releasing everywhere, on all the things. So check that out. So well, again, Tyler, thank you for joining me. Appreciate you're hearing your story and just allowing you sharing that with us and just hearing what God's doing and what He's done. And I'm excited. I know that God is He's got more things for you, and that you're doing a big work where you're at. And I'm excited to hear more about that and know that and you know this because your dad's a coach, and so you know that when you coach kids, 15 years down the road, those kids come back and be like, "Hey, Coach Jones, let me tell you about the difference you made in my life." And
Yeah.
my dad was a coach, and I get that. People, they know who he is, and they
Right.
remember
Exactly.
him. And so you're making an impact in those kids' life. So that's awesome. Any last things, any last nuggets or wisdom to drop?
Um, I just want to say thanks for having me on this.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm glad that you're starting this journey and you're going with it and you feel like this is what God's calling you to do and just being the creative, just being in the creative process.
Okay.
I'm just thankful, really just thankful to get to know you. And
All right.
it's always fun when you can just talk to somebody for the first time in 10 years and it's like it's just easy to talk just because
Yeah.
of who you were to me and who you've always been to me. So I'm just thankful for what you've done.
I think the logical next step is a collab. So
Yes, sir.
we'll have to work that out.
Yes, sir. For sure. For sure.
But
Let's go.
but you play the guitar and I'll rap. That's how we'll know it's
Okay.
good.
Okay. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm gonna have to do some lessons. So
me too. Me too.
I love that, man. Well, hey Paul, you tell Callie that I said hello.
I will.
And seriously, thank you for your time here today. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it.
I thank you as well. All right,
Yes,
thank you
sir.
guys for listening. Check out all the Tyler stuff. Listen to his music; it's really great. His song on New Perspectives about his accident is The Date. What was the date? What's the name of that song again?
July 30th, 2018.
So if you want to go and check that out specifically, go search Google July 30th, 2018, Tyler Jones. You can listen to him rap about it, talk about it, and check out the album cover to see his car and just see the things that God has done and the graciousness He's given. And so you've got that opportunity. Thank you, Tyler, for being here, and I hope that we'll be here. You guys will be able to check in with us again next week. As we'll be on episode, we'll be on 7 next week, so that'll be exciting. And I hope you guys have until then, we'll see you later.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.